Okay, so A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And now, A was alignment. B I call blending. And that basically means, are the colors in the band separated the way they should be? Do they blend into each other properly? Also bleeding, or do they bleed? If you have bleeding, it could be a sign of fake bands, meaning that the gold is bleeding out into the red where it shouldn't be, or vice versa. The bands, everything should be straight, everything should be precise, okay? And you want to make sure that there's not, different distances between the words. They should all be the same. No discrepancies. Okay? D, dimensions. Are the bands the right size? Now, this you can't really check unless you know the exact size somehow and measure it in millimeters, or you have a known good band, which is most cases. And while we're on that subject of known good bands, there's a little thing on a forum I was reading a few nights ago that there is a situation where there are two different Partagas bands floating around. And a guy was freaking out because he got his box of cigars, and where there are the dots, and I'll show you that later, on the band after the D, after the 4, after the Partagas, the little teeny dot after the Partagas before the dash Havana, and after the 4, he only had one dot after the D. So there was a whole bunch of discrepancy. Wow, it's a shame about those cracks. I guess I'll smoke that first. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of discrepancy, and Habanos actually got involved. They had the serial numbers, blah, 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 and Habanos came back and said both are genuine, and they actually said right now 2 different companies are producing the bands. There are 2 bands in circulation, and they're in the process of fusing them, but right now there are boxes with either or. So if you get a band that has a little discrepancy, like 1 dot instead of 3, it might still be real. It seems to me that the 3 dot bands are much more common, but don't freak out immediately, okay? But it does pose a sign of, you know what, let me look into this. So, that's dimensions, size. Embossing. Embossing is very important. A lot of Cuban bands are embossed, and here you can see, you can even almost see it, how the letters are pushed up from the underside. Now, with embossing, there are a couple of things. Number one, if you turn the band over, you should see everything punched up from the other side, and it should be punched up clearly. It shouldn't be like, kind of punched. It should be punched up, and you should be able to feel the embossing. It should be pretty equal all the way around, and the gold, where it is embossed, should lay on the embossed area. It shouldn't be embossed and then slightly to the right there's the gold. That's a sign of possibly a fake band. It could just be poorly produced, but, another one of those checkpoints. Everything should look very nice. Embossing. Fit. The bands should fit properly. The bands should fit around the cigars without sliding up and down easily. They're in their alignment, and these bands are on there very, very nicely. If you take a cigar and we look at it, we'll see that the bands go all the way around without leaving too much space, and they do not just slide all over the place. They're fitted. And finally, one that a lot of people miss, glue. The kind of glue they use allows you to remove a band rather easily. You shouldn't feel a hard lump of glue, kind of like dried crazy glue in between where the band is wrapped around and glued together. That's definitely been either a real band reattached by someone or it's fake, because the real glue lets you kind of just peel a band off. Sometimes they stick and the paper rips a little, but more often than not, they'll just come right off. So look for that. You shouldn't be able to feel the glue. There shouldn't be any, and the glue shouldn't be on the cigars either. Everything should be nice and neat. So there you have it. A, alignment. B, blending, bleeding. C, color. D, dimensions. E, embossing. F, fit. And G, glue. Our bands definitely check out. Those are gorgeous. Those are gorgeous. So now, let's take a cigar out. And sometimes it's difficult to get the first one. take a cigar out. I'm going to look at it a little closely. Sorry about the camera. You can see the embossing. You can see the color. You can see that that is a professional band. That is a well done band. Here are the dots I was talking about. After the D, after the number and O, after the 4, a tiny little teeny one that you probably can't see on this camera after the word Partagas. That's beautiful. Now, here's where we're getting into the good stuff. The box, the bands, blah, 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 but are they real? All the signs point to yes so far, but we still have to look at the main thing, the cigar. Few easy ways to tell right off the bat, are we still in the zone of it being real? Number one, feel the cigar. You'll get a feel for what a Cuban cigar feels like. It should be silky. It should be even. Okay? A good cigar should have a little give, but tight. A little, bounce back. And, not underfilled, not overfilled. They should all be the same size, same ring gauge, the same height. The caps on most Cuban cigars are like this. Marble, kind of like flattened here. And the caps on all Cuban cigars are what they call triple cap. Okay? Triple cap, basically, and I'm working with the camera here, which is a pain. You can see the lines that go around. There should be 3 lines. Here, okay, here, here, here. And you have that on every cigar. Basically, it's the way they finish off the cigar. They don't just take a little piece of tobacco and slap it on top, called a flag. They actually wrap the tobacco around, and then cap and around. So, if your cigars aren't triple capped, they're not real. Trust me. All Cuban cigars, all good Cuban cigars, except for some of the machine-mades maybe, any hand-finished, handmade cigar from Cuba is triple capped. Okay, if you want to see exactly what I'm talking about, grab a Padron from the regular series, 2000, 3000, 4000, and you'll see what a cigar looks like when it's not triple capped. Just a patch of tobacco on top. Okay, grab a Tatuaje Regio. I'm giving you some cigars you have easier access to, or anything. You'll see triple caps, Cabaguan. Tatuaje cigars are made in the Cuban fashion. Very, very, very similar. So that's beautiful. That's really well done. Beautiful sheen, beautiful color. Okay. So now that we're on the topic of the cigars themselves, and we've mentioned the triple caps and all that, look at the shade of the cigars. Look at the shade of the cigars, and they should be very, very similar. All the cigars should be of just about the same shade. Some can be a tiny lighter. It's a natural product, okay? But you shouldn't have 3 cigars like this, and then all of a sudden 2 cigars that look like they're almost Maduro, and then a cigar that looks like it's Colorado, and then all of a sudden you get one that's like a Connecticut. You shouldn't have a fucking barber pole. It should look even, okay? So you can see here all the color checks out. You have nice, even shade. Then we go on to the foot. Look at the foot of the cigar. Okay? It's rolled in such a way, and you can look up online. These are filled. These are really filled. You can look online, and Cuban cigars are rolled in a certain fashion, where the tobacco is bunched up kind of like an accordion into separate lengths of long filler, and then rolled together with a binder and wrapper. The tobacco is not just all laid out flat and then rolled up. That's what a lot of counterfeiters do. It's the easiest way to roll up a cigar. And the telltale signs of that would be kind of a spiraling tobacco. Here you have separate, and the camera quality is not really good. I'm trying to get a good view here. You have separate bunches, Those darker spots are actually spaces. And you have separate bunches of tobacco rolled up. Also, there shouldn't be a ton of, stems sticking out, hard stems and whatnot. It should be good looking. It should be a good roll. Okay? So there you have it. That's a foot of a Partagas D4. There's the cap. Kind of flattish on top. Triple capped. And the shade is good. The feel is good. And my friend, the cigars are good. The biggest tell, of course, is the aroma, something I can't show you here, and the flavor. The cigars should literally smell to a cigar smoker like heaven. Wow. There's no other smell like it. They smell fantastic. The aroma should be earthy. You're going to smell a lot of cedar on these D4s from the wood. They smell sweet, creamy, but then there's that undertone of dank earth that you'll find in a lot of Cuban cigars. All Cuban cigars, that's what Cuban tobacco smells like. And that's what these cigars smell like. They smell terrific. They look terrific. And I think I'm ready to smoke one.